Welcome to the Armchair Fantasy Football Podcast. Here are your hosts, DJ Marcotte and John Soroyce. Enjoy the show.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Armchair Fantasy Football Podcast, the working class podcast and the perfect podcast for the average Joe. We are the Blue Collar Ballers, DJ, John, and Thom, and you can find all of our content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Podbean, YouTube, Twitch, and on Instagram at armchair_fantasy_football, Facebook at Armchair Fantasy Football, and Twitter at ArmchairFFPod. And of course, you can email us at armchairfb@gmail.com. Today, gentlemen, is National IPA Day, so I have an IPA here at the Working Class Podcast. It's actually a sour IPA called Buddy Movie from Stoneface Brewery, and it tastes really good, let me tell you. It is also opt-out deadline day, and the deadline has come and gone, and it looks like, guys, really the biggest name on the list is Damian Williams from an offensive standpoint. But who else kind of affects the fantasy world maybe from a defensive standpoint? I know there were thoughts that Tre'Davious White was going to opt out. He did not. What kind of impact would that have?
It would have had a lot of impact. I think the team would have to throw more, would be my speculation, based on the fact that they would be playing from behind, I would think more. Their defense keeps them in the game quite a bit.
Thom, what do you think of that?
Oh, I agree. Their offense would be on the field a lot more if White was out there. I mean, it wasn't out there, so.
So is this good or bad for Josh Allen?
This is great for Josh Allen, I would think. I mean, well, there's two ways to look at it. It could have been good either way, but...
Are they really going to get in shootouts with Sam Darnold? And
I don't see it in the AFC East now, but at least they'll be on the field more. There'll be a lot more 3-and-outs with White out there covering the best wide receiver.
So today I am the monkey in the middle, which I typically am not. My usual spot that's very reserved for me. Mr. Hot Take Thom Martell is sitting in it today, and I'm in the middle because we got a mock draft going on today, and I guess I'm the centerpiece of this because I'm running the board, and we want to make sure each of you guys can see the board. So mock draft version 4. This is the penultimate mock draft before the season starts. We have one more after this, and then it's fantasy football a go-go. It's time to dive in, and hopefully the season starts on time. I suspect that it might. If it doesn't, hopefully it starts late. If it doesn't start at all, then hopefully you guys have a straitjacket.
I will say, as U.S. League manager, so the other day me and him actually stopped by where we're going to host the draft, and we actually planned out a COVID kind of plan, so people will be
socially distanced setup, no doubt. So make sure you're doing it safe, guys. You got to do it right. If you're in a legit league, you probably have an in-person live draft, and if you have that here in 2020, it might be a good idea to get a socially distanced plan. And of course, we're doing it outdoors, so we have to have a backup weather plan as well. So a lot of exciting stuff going on at the Working Class Podcast and our resident Armchair Fantasy Football leagues, specifically our Tag Team League and Keeper League, the main events of our fantasy football experience every year. And it's going to be awesome. We'll do a live show that day, too. Well, before we get into anything else, though, are you guys ready to poll the pod?
Sure.
Yes.
All right. Poll the pod for this week, which you can check out on Twitter and Facebook. Who's more likely to bounce back in 2020, Juju Smith-Schuster or Odell Beckham? Thom, I'll start with you on this one.
Both, but I'm going to go with Odell Beckham. I just think he's going to pop off this year. I think he might get his head on straight finally for once and just be who he's supposed to be back in 2015, one of the top 5 receivers in football.
What about you, John?
I want to say Odell Beckham based on the fact that Landry might miss time being on the PUP list, but I'm leaning more towards Juju based on the fact that the chemistry he had with Big Ben, even with the year with Antonio Brown, saw over 120 targets. I see him returning back to form. I can see Juju having a great year this year. Connor's healthy, Big Ben's healthy, that Ebron. And let's be honest, Steelers are always usually near the top of their division, as where Cleveland is still trying to dig out of the trenches.
So I guess I'll be the tiebreaker here. And of course, the question is who's more likely to bounce back in 2020? And looking at it from that viewpoint, I've got to say it's Odell Beckham for a few reasons. Number one, he is the more talented of the two. We've seen him exceed with bad quarterback play in the past. Eli Manning has not always been the Eli Manning that has defeated the Patriots. He's been pretty bad Eli Manning, and Odell Beckham managed to succeed even in those cases, in that circumstance. The other thing is, Odell Beckham's not in a contract year. Juju Smith-Schuster is. And the Steelers have said, guys, that they're probably not going to re-sign Juju Smith-Schuster, so it could stand to reason that they would want to get Deontay Johnson and James Washington more involved. And last but not least, I just don't see Big Ben being healthy all year, given his conditioning and given his size and his age. And if that happens and Big Ben goes out, it's going to be a bad year for Juju Smith-Schuster. I happen to think both of these guys will bounce back. I just think Juju's the more likely of the two. He could even bounce back bigger than Odell, but I don't think it's as likely.
Stefanski worries me as well with the Browns because where he's a run-heavy coach. And I'm not saying they're never going to throw, but it does limit, I think, Beckham's ceiling, I would say.
Well, and if Landry starts the season on PUP, too, that's even all the more better for Odell Beckham. I notice I can't go this way when I talk on this microphone. I'll have to adapt to that. So anyway, other than that, before we get into a very exciting mock draft today, John, it's time for top 5 headlines.
So here we go. Number 5, the Miami Dolphins are cautiously optimistic. Preston Williams will be ready for week 1. He was cleared for football activities earlier this week. They are being very cautious with Preston Williams as he is their other receiver other than Devontae Parker. Williams showed as a rookie he's got the stuff, but can he, expand on it more after only playing 8 games last year?
Well, I just love Preston Williams. I loved him last year. I was actually high on him before the NFL season started last year because of what he brought to the table in terms of talent and the fact that the competition for receiving targets in that team was wide open and still is, and even more so wide open, Tom, with Allen Hurns opting out.
Albert Wilson
opted out as well. So it's right for the picking there for Preston Williams.
Oh, yeah. They shouldn't rush him back anyway. If he's not 100%, don't put him on the field yet. Be a run-first team. Throw the ball to Gesicki more.
Yeah.
Yeah, Breida now. So they can do this. Jakeem Grant was a decent fill-in last year.
I'll tell you, you look at guys like Deebo Samuel, Preston Williams. If these guys start on PUP, it's going to be exciting, when they come out. They could be immediate contributors. So these are guys that, whether or not they're on PUP, you should draft and stash because it's going to be worth it when they come back.
Number 4, Baltimore Ravens Marquise Brown packs on 23 pounds this offseason and is up to 180 pounds. This is after playing 157 pounds as a rookie, and before the pre-draft process, he was 166, and interesting, he was only 144 pounds his first year in college. I knew he was small, but I didn't know he was that light.
Yeah, you had texted Tom and I that earlier, and I knew how big he was. He is cousins with Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown, not a huge guy either, 180, 190. So you can perform on a frame like that if you bulk up, which Brown has done, Hollywood that is. Is it enough? Is it a good adding of the weight? I mean, did he add weight the hard way through muscle? I would assume so. Did he put on the COVID-20? I don't know. Or the COVID-19. Maybe that's what it is, the pounds that you add. But, I mean, if he bulked up and he's more durable, he's going to be a huge asset this year. I like Hollywood Brown, Tom. I just don't know if what's he at now? 178 or something like that?
171. Pushing close to 180.
I don't even know if that's enough.
I don't think that's enough either, but he's a speed burner out there. He had that foot surgery, so he had to gain weight. He had nothing else to do but just sit there and probably lift weights and eat all day long.
He's not that much lighter at this weight than Tyreek Hill, so if they can use him right and he's elusive enough, he could stay healthy, but he didn't last year. But that was foot injuries too, so it wasn't really his lack of durability, so it'd be interesting to see this year. I'm definitely going after Brown later in drafts if he's there because he does have high upside.
Okay, number 3, Las Vegas Raiders offensive coordinator Greg Olson said...
The tight end?
No,
I'm
the
just
offensive
kidding.
coordinator said rookie wide receiver Henry Ruggs will start in the slot to begin with, but will be expanded out more. They want him to know basically every position, the wide receiver position. They're going to line him up everywhere.
I love this man because I look at seeing him in the slot just makes me think of Wes Welker in his prime all day long. You get an athletic, fast guy like that in the slot, that's a dangerous situation.
Oh, I agree 100%. He's a skill player that's special out there. They don't have that guy on that field.
Right.
They have Waller and Renfro, the guys like that, a little bigger, but not that speed guy like him.
So does this raise Ruggs' value for you, John?
I was high on Ruggs, not super high, but I mean, the more I've read about him, the more I see he's been high. This actually pushes me even more to draft him.
So it does raise
Yes.
that value. Yeah.
So the question is, do you think this hurts Renfro or not really?
I definitely think it hurts Renfro. This is Renfro's speciality, so to speak, catching out of the slot. I do not think you're going to see a repeat performance from Renfro this year unless the chemistry is that good with Derek Carr.
If Carr can trust him, then he can put him on the outside and put him in the slot. He can move around. Both the guys don't have to play one position on wide receiver.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how many snaps does Bryan Edwards get, too. You know what I mean?
He's another interesting factor as well.
Yeah, no doubt.
Number 2 news, New York Jets, Adam Gase said Le'Veon Bell is extremely motivated and is in phenomenal shape.
I'm not surprised by this, and I'm not so sure Bell was in bad shape going into last year. Again, what I like the most about Bell, guys, is the adjustments they've made to have a more athletic offensive line this year, which gives them more versatility to do the things that are tailored toward Le'Veon Bell. Last year, they didn't have that athleticism on the line, and last year, basically, he was used as a north-south type of guy, and when he wasn't, he had no time in the backfield to make a decision, on where to go, and that's his skill, is his vision, Tom.
Oh, yeah. Plus, he's the only guy on the field right now for skill that's any good right now.
Crowder's okay.
Crowder's okay. Mims is an up-and-comer, but he's still the number one option on the team, so
Right.
him motivated is just an added bonus.
Absolutely. I think Bell's a steal this year where he's going.
Oh, I love Bill where he's going this year. And I think it's the ADPs don't even... They don't even say, you know what I'm saying? The ADP's probably, 4th or 5th round? He's been going later than that in some mock drafts as well.
Yeah.
So, number 1 news. Tampa Bay Bucks head coach Bruce Arians says Ronald Jones is the main guy amongst Bucks running backs.
For how long, Tom?
Probably for a while. He's the veteran on the team. He knows the offense better than anyone else does out there. So McCoy just got there. Vaughn just got there. So he knows the team better than the other two.
Sometimes, guys, I think you just, at some point, have to stop overthinking it. And it's staring us right in the face. Ronald Jones is the running back to own in Tampa Bay. I think we want to overthink it and say, well, Vaughn's probably more talented and LaShawn McCoy is more experienced and has a better pedigree and this and that. If Bruce Arians is telling you that this is the guy, and they've talked all offseason, John, about how they've loved the effort that he's put in, then he might be the guy. It doesn't mean he's going to be the guy at the end of the season. I'm not so convinced that that's the case. But like Tom said, I think he's got a 6-week leash probably here that we're looking at minimum. I will also say this, though. I think LaShawn McCoy is going to fill the James White role here, and he could have a lot more value than we think. And if he does fill that James White role and can give similar output, he's going to be a steal, too, in fantasy. Do you think that's a possibility, James White type of situation?
I'm not sure. I think he's more there for veteran leadership on the bench, just to help these guys out, learn the game, learn all the assets, being a running back, the running, the catching, the blocking.
I think there's obviously the element of that, but John, I just don't see either of the two other running backs excelling in the pass catching game to the degree that LaShawn McCoy does and can.
He does, but he's lost a step as well because of age and injuries.
James White's like 30, isn't he?
Came out in 2014, so
he's not young.
29,
Yeah.
30.
So, I mean, McCoy was talented in his younger days, but let's not forget that, I agree with Tom. He's more a veteran presence at this point that, kind of teach these younger guys and develop them. But I think the one that's nobody's talking about is the boogeyman.
Dare Agumbawale,
And
which you're right, probably is the pass catching guy.
Last year, he had the best pass blocking prediction out of all the backs that were there. Doesn't say much because Peyton Barber's gone and he's in Washington now, but he did get most of the passing catches last year, receptions, I should say. So I think he's the one that people are not talking about. And I would not be surprised if he's the third down back this year.
So I'm going to have to get that boogeyman drop back. All right, duly noted. All right, that's it for the news, guys. I guess we'll jump right into mock draft version 4.
Can we not get last pick?
Well, I can't. That's not up to me. So let's just make sure we have the right info in here. We've got 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 flex, 8 bench, and it's a 12-team league. It is PPR, and it is Snake, and we're gonna randomize. You guys ready?
Let's go.
Give me a drum roll, John. There we go. All right, take it easy on the drum roll. 7th pick. That's probably the best pick we've ever gotten on this show. I'll take it. Normally we get either 1 or 12. I'm happy to be there right in that sweet center at number 7. John, did you have something on your mind?
No, just 7's right in the middle. I'll take it.
7, Tom, is what?
The key number.
It is the key number. For those of you, Something About Mary.
Something
right?
About Mary.
If you haven't watched Something About Mary, you're missing out. You need to go watch that movie. That was a nice Something About Mary reference. So, to start off the draft, the 101 is, no surprise here, it is Christian McCaffrey. 102 is Saquon Barkley. Michael Thomas. This is interesting. Thomas went a lot earlier than I expected. Ezekiel Elliott at the 104. Alvin Kamara at the 105. Devontae Adams at the 106. And then us, staring down the barrel of Dalvin Cook and Derrick Henry here, guys. Those are 2 pretty sweet guys to be sitting there at the 6th spot. Joe Mixon is also there. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, DeAndre Hopkins, Tyreek Hill, Julio Jones, Chris Godwin, Travis Kelce, Miles Sanders. A lot of options here. I feel like at the 107, though, rather to be specific, sorry, we got to take Dalvin Cook at the 107. Am I wrong here?
No, you are not.
I like Henry better.
Oh,
but
gee. This is a PPR league, though, so I think
I
that's...
don't think it matters, but it's like flipping a coin. Who do you want, the PPR guy or you want the big stud out there?
I think Cook gives you both, so we're probably going to overrule Tom on this one, but I like Henry, too. And this is, honestly, if this is a standard league, as they call it, it's not even close to Derrick Henry, but under this circumstance, I think it's Dalvin Cook. So we're taking Dalvin Cook, which you're not upset with.
No, I'm not.
Right.
Either one is fine.
All right. So as Dalvin Cook is selected by us, let me just dial it back here. After Dalvin Cook goes, well, surprise, surprise, Derrick Henry. And then Kenyon Drake. Somebody loves the Drake. He went right after Derrick Henry. Then Julio Jones. After Julio Jones, Joe Mixon. DeAndre Hopkins. Clyde Edwards-Helaire with the 201 going ahead of Aaron Jones at the 202. Tyreek Hill at the 203, Austin Eckler at the 204, and then Nick Chubb at the 205. So we're kind of sitting pretty here, guys. So we've been very fortunate with some of the guys that have dropped. First, we have Dalvin Cook drop to us at number 7 overall. And then now we're looking at Chris Godwin, Travis Kelce, Miles Sanders, George Kittle, Allen Robinson, Josh Jacobs, Kenny Golladay, Pat Mahomes, to name a few. Where are you at, John, on this spot here at the 206? What do you think?
I love my running backs, but I also love a stud PPR wide receiver. And Godwin's sitting there. He's almost too hard to pass up with Brady there. He's the new Edelman.
I'm going to disagree with John on this one, but Tom, who are you looking at right here?
I like the stud running back. Get 2 studs out there and worry about the number 1 wide receiver next round.
So who would that stud running back be?
Miles Sanders. I think he's going to be real special this year.
So do you guys want to know what I think? You want to guess what I think?
It's probably neither one of them, and you want to go tier 1 tight end.
As much as that is a temptation of mine, we're in a PPR league, right, guys? How many PPR running backs are available in the NFL? Not a ton of them. We have one of them in Dalvin Cook. And then we have Miles Sanders, who has, in my opinion, top 5 and even top 3 running back upside here. He can catch the ball. He'll run the ball. He'll run in touchdowns. He's got a little bit of competition with Boston Scott, but Come on, guys. Boston Scott, are we really sitting here and worried about drafting Miles Sanders because Boston Scott is in the backfield with him? No, not even close. I look at Miles Sanders, Tom, as a guy that could be a top 3 running back.
Oh, I agree. He's just very, very good. You didn't see much of it in college. You saw very little early in the last year, and at the end of the year, he just blew up. So.
And that's only because the opportunity wasn't there until the last year in college and until the end of the season last year in the NFL.
Right.
And when it was, he rewarded his coaches significantly and his fantasy owners. So, John, this time you're getting overruled.
It's good. I do not mind Miles.
I'm sure my
Miles
time
Sanders.
to get overruled is coming. But we're going to take Miles Sanders at the 206. And think about this, guys. We have Miles Sanders and Dalvin Cook in our backfield. And unfortunately, we're freezing up here. There we go. That's a pretty darn good backfield, man. But obviously, when you make a decision like that, it could hurt you at other positions. I don't think that's going to be the case here. But after Miles Sanders, guys, Travis Kelce and Chris Godwin, they didn't make it long. They went at the 207 and the 208. And then some poor soul took Mike Evans at the 209, Odell Beckham at the 210, 211, Josh Jacobs. And then Pat Mahomes went with the last pick in the second round. George Kittle gone at the 301, Lamar Jackson at the 302. Todd Gurley went at the 303. Aren't you glad we took a running back? Kenny Golladay gone at the 304. I was hoping he might drop to us. Allen Robinson at the 305. And then Adam Thielen at the 306. So this is interesting, guys. There are 2, I guess you could consider guaranteed top tight ends, top 5 tight ends available, or not even top 5, but just highly productive tight ends. And those 2 available are Mark Andrews and Zach Ertz. I think their success is somewhat implied. So if we don't select them, we're running the risk of not having a top-tier tight end. However, I think tight end's deeper this year than it's been in a long time, and maybe even ever. What we don't want to do is not have a legitimate number 1 wide receiver, and it's getting close there. So on the board right now is Juju Smith-Schuster, DJ Moore, Amari Cooper, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, Calvin Ridley, A.J. Brown. I think we're all in agreement we're not going that direction. Keenan Allen, Tyler Lockett, DJ Chark, Terry McLaurin. That's probably the big group there. And I know Cortland Sutton is there as well. But we're not going to reach when we can get somebody a little bit later on. Cortland Sutton might be a great number 2 wide receiver for us. We're in great shape at running back. Are we thinking tight end? Are we thinking wide receiver? Or are we even thinking quarterback? I'm doubting that, though, right now.
Right. We need the wide receiver, and I think Cooper's the best on the bunch just because he's Prescott's number 1 guy, and they throw
Amari
a lot.
Cooper. What do you think, John?
I'm almost leaning towards Cooper Kupp.
Okay.
Look what
so we got a Cooper one way or another between the 2 of you guys.
Combine them both.
Yeah, Amari Cooper Kupp. Yeah. That would be a pretty darn good receiver.
I just think
there.
Cooper, and I'm not saying Woods is not going to take from Cooper Kupp, but I think Amari Cooper with adding what's his name, CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup will not fight for targets, but the targets are more available, I think, in LA than they are in Dallas. And let's not forget that the Rams defense is not that well. They're going to be throwing more this year as well.
Man, if you're making me choose between the 2 of these guys, I mean, I'm always going to go to the better offense, which I think you'd have to say is Dallas. I'm always going to go with the guy that is the alpha receiver, which on the team it's Cooper Kupp, but Cooper, in terms of Amari Cooper, is more the alpha receiver. And I'm going to go with the guy that has the best chemistry with the quarterback. I think in LA, that's Robert Woods. We've seen, the numbers have shown us it's Amari Cooper in Dallas. I'm wondering why you guys are slipping on DJ Moore here, though. Why would you not go DJ Moore in this situation, John?
I think the reason I'm skeptical of DJ Moore, I know he had a great season last year. The only thing that scares me, I'm not saying it's Robbie Anderson, it's a different offense. And we saw last year, Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore were the targets on the team, but McCaffrey is the number 1 there, target overall. But what, like we've brought up before, is Bridgewater going to be able to feed this guy like he did? But he didn't feed Michael Thomas, so it's a little skepticism.
And DJ Moore performed with Kyle frickin' Allen and whatever other scrubs they had
Will
out there.
Greer.
Will Greer. So what do you think, Tom? What keeps you? What veers you more toward Cooper than Moore?
Teddy Bridgewater. I think he's a game manager. I think Cooper's got the Prescott and just throw down the field. I think Bridgewater's going to regress from what he did in New Orleans last year.
Well, I guess I gave 1 point to John in the first round and 1 point to Thom in the second round, and another point goes to Thom in the third round. I feel like it's, the fourth round at this point, so I think it's dead even now. I think it's Amari Cooper in this situation. He's the more of the alpha wide receiver than Cooper Kupp. We've seen stretches, guys, when Cooper Kupp in the 2 tight end sets, John, was completely phased out.
Yeah,
I don't want that from my number one receiver.
And that's there's that part that scares me, but this defense is not the same defense. I just think the offense will be on the field more than Dallas has a good defense.
I would take DJ Moore here personally, but in the spirit of agreeing, I'm going to go with Amari Cooper. So I think I've agreed with you guys each once.
Yeah, Cooper got picked. We're all happy.
All right. Yeah, there's a Cooper that won. It's not the Cooper that you want.
I know.
So with that being said, we're chugging along through the picks here. DJ Moore didn't last long, guys. After we selected Amari Cooper, Juju Smith-Schuster went right after him. Then Robert Woods. Oh, boy, the receivers really flew off here. Mark Andrews at the 310, 311. Calvin Ridley in 312. Last pick of the third round, Leonard Fournette. Man, is he a steal this year, guys.
Oh, I know. No, everyone's just doubting him this year.
He's in a contract year. They're going to run him into the ground. He catches passes. I just don't get why there's so much hate for Leonard Fournette, and I'll scoop that guy up all day long in situations like that. DJ Moore slipped a little bit to the 401, and sadly, Thom, I thought we could get Cortland Sutton in the next round. That did not happen. Apparently, this guy likes Cortland Sutton as much as you do. Maybe not as much. He went ahead of Cooper Kupp, who went at the 403. A.J. Brown went at the 404. And now Zach Ertz is gone, guys. So we're in an interesting situation here. Zach Ertz is gone at the 405. I think it makes the decision a little bit easier because I think we wait on tight end. And I might even be okay with Mike Gesicki as my starting tight end, to be honest with you. But in the spirit of information and letting you guys know who's on the board right now, it is still a situation with Darren Waller, Evan Ingram, Tyler Higbee, Hunter Henry, Hayden Hurst, Jared Cook, Austin Hooper, Mike Gesicki, Rob Gronkowski, and Noah Fant still available at tight end. Dak Prescott is at the top of the board at quarterback. I don't think I'm going that direction. That's just me. I think we get another wide receiver here, a really good number 2 wide receiver here. I know you might disagree with my choice, John, but where do you think we should go with this pick?
All I'm going to say is baby shark doo 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 doo, baby shark doo 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 doo.
So DJ Chark obviously is John's selection. Thom, do you think it's wide receiver? Do you think it's tight end?
It's got to be wide receiver. The tight ends you can get a couple rounds from now. So
Absolutely.
Dak you can get now. You can get the same Dak a couple rounds from like Kyler Murray or Russell Wilson or somebody.
And Thom brings up a great point. That's how you guys need to look at it. Is Darren Waller all that different from Jared Cook, in terms of final points for the season? Maybe. But is Darren Waller going to be all that different from Hunter Henry, who's going to go a couple rounds later probably? You can wait and get a Hunter Henry and really have 2 good wide receivers on your team. With that being said, the wide receivers available, Keenan Allen, Tyler Lockett, DJ Chark, Terry McLaurin, DK Metcalf, Devontae Parker, T.Y. Hilton, Stephon Diggs, Tyler Boyd, Jarvis Landry, A.J. Green, and then kind of a drop-off after that. So out of those names, John, you mentioned DJ Chark. Thom, where's your head at on this one?
Terry McLaurin.
You know I love Terry McLaurin. You guys know I love DJ Chark, so you're like, you guys are basically making me choose
between your kids.
Between my children. Again, and again, I'm going to go with one or the other between you guys, and we can see who comes up with the most points, so to speak. But if it's me, I'm probably taking Keenan Allen here, man. I'm not ready to disrespect Keenan Allen on the level that you guys, and frankly, the entire fantasy community is disrespecting him. And he even came out a week or 2 ago and said, basically that, you guys are disrespecting me, and I'm going to show you how wrong you are in 2020 when I light it up. So I would probably go Keenan Allen to pair with Amari Cooper. But if you guys are asking me to pick between DJ Chark and Terry McLaurin, I literally have these guys back-to-back in my rankings. So that's a really tough decision for me. Man, oh man, this is a tough one. Neither of them have a great quarterback situation, although I think McLaurin transcends his a little bit more than Chark does. Chark's more of a home run hitter. Boy, oh boy.
This is my perspective of it. Between Keenan Allen and Chark.
Both of them are 94% likely to be drafted by our next pick.
Chargers defense is good, or is going to be good. They have a lot of weapons on that defense. I think they will keep the offense off the field like they should. I mean, which is, you know what I'm saying? Like, they give them the rest. As where Jacksonville's defense is just, we're talking about
we're talking McLaurin and Chark right here.
Yes, no, I know. But I'm saying
what do the Chargers defense have to do with it? You're talking about
He said Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen.
Oh, okay. Well, I'd kind of drilled it down between Chark and McLaurin.
Okay, so, well, either team's going to be playing from behind.
In the Washington Foreskins.
Yeah, and Jacksonville's defense is awful. Washington's defense, I think they might get a little bit of a boost this year. Chase Young's there. Ron Rivera's now the head coach. I think Jacksonville's the worst defense out of the both, which means they're going to be on the field more opportunities playing from behind and throwing more. Whereas Rivera's been known to run the ball. I'm not saying he doesn't throw, but
I'm giving this point barely because I have him ranked, I think, one spot ahead of Terry McLaurin. We're going to go with DJ Chark here. But, man, is that close. Still think it's a good – it might help our score, too, because he is ranked higher than McLaurin as well. But I mean, you can't go wrong with both those guys. With that being said, guys, don't sleep on Keenan Allen this year. I mean, I've seen it a million times where we've stepped away from the Keenan Allen hype train because of injuries or this or that. And he's come through for us every single year. Even last year, in one of Phillip Rivers' worst years, he still had a great season. So don't back off of Keenan Allen this year. I think his demise is largely exaggerated. So after DJ Chark, Tom's favorite running back, James Conner, goes off the board at the 407. That's sarcasm, by the way. Tyler Lockett goes at the 408. A guy we didn't talk about, Tyler Lockett, in that scenario, guys. What's the difference between him and those other three players that we talked about? What's the concern with Lockett, if there is any?
Boomer bust games. 1 week he'll get you 2 targets, the next week he has 18 targets.
But he's pretty steady with
he's
double-digit
been better.
output
He's been
stuff.
better.
Oh, yeah, he's Russell Wilson's favorite receiver, but we went with the other two guys.
Right, yeah, and they're more likely to be the
Number
primary
one,
receiver.
DK Metcalf's on the field with Lockett, so.
Absolutely. So anyway, after Lockett, my favorite running back, Chris Carson, and then Keenan Allen went at the 410. Melvin Gordon all the way down at the 411. David Johnson at the 412. The aforementioned DK Metcalf went at 501. At the 502, McLaurin. At the 503, Le'Veon Bell. Jonathan Taylor at the 504. What a steal with Bell, too, by the way. 505, Darren Waller. 506, Mark Ingram. And then we are on the clock. Running back's getting a little thin right now, guys. I think if we don't make a selection at running back here, we might regret it. With that being said, we still do need a tight end, and we still do need a quarterback. I think we wait on those positions once again. But we could really bolster our wide receiver core, too, with guys like Stephon Diggs, Tyler Boyd, Jarvis Landry, Devontae Parker still on the board. I know you disagree with the Parker one, Tom. But, Tom, I'll start with you. What position are you looking at here?
Depends who the running back is right now.
I mean, we've got David Montgomery, Devin Singletary, Kareem Hunt, DeAndre Swift, Raheem Mostert, and probably a drop-off after that.
I love Singletary, so that's who I'd go right now.
What about you?
I'm not against Singletary. Actually, I'm more on Singletary now with all the demise of the Patriots defense. I think they will have a better chance against them. It's either Singletary or Montgomery for me.
Okay.
I'm not against either one.
I like them both. I think the Bills are going to be more likely to be in the lead and hence more likely to run the ball more often. But David Montgomery's not sharing time with anybody. That dude's getting all the work. Tariq Cohen will get some passing game work, but I still think he's more of a gadget player than anything. Man, oh man, this is a tough one too. You guys are making it hard on me. You know, I'm gonna go with him because I believe in him. I've looked at him since college as a guy that to me is the same, cut from the same cloth as LaShawn McCoy. Not the most athletic guy in the world, not the fastest running back in the world, but just understands where to be and has great vision and just knows how to move out there on the football field. And he's proven that as well at the NFL level. Unfortunately, he did cede a lot of snaps to Frank Gore, a.k.a. the guy at the end of, what was it, Temple of Doom? No, it wasn't Temple of Doom. It was The Last Crusade.
Last Crusade.
You have chosen wisely. But no, Devin Singletary, not by much, but I think he's just a better running back on a team that's probably going to be more likely to be ahead. I think they're going to score more points than the Chicago Bears will. So we're going to go Devin Singletary here in the 5th round. How many selections have we made here, guys?
We have 3 running backs and 2 wide receivers,
and I
believe.
So 3 and 2. So who have I agreed with more? I think I lost count already.
I think Thom.
I think it's Thom by 1. Yeah. So we'll see how this goes. Your fate is in my hands, Sir Royce. What do you think of that? Does that scare you?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right. Well, what won't scare Thom is he doesn't have to worry about Devontae Parker because he went off the board right after Devin Singletary, T.Y. Hilton, David Montgomery, Julian Edelman, which I'm sure none of us would have taken. Kerryon Johnson goes ahead of DeAndre Swift. That's a mistake, folks. DeAndre Swift is going to own this backfield, or at least the bigger portion of it. That's what I think. I think Kerryon Johnson is just a change of pace. You guys
He
agree
even
with
said
that?
he doesn't mind being the backup.
Yeah. Is that? I mean, am I wrong?
I would have rather taken Swift.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Don't make that mistake, folks. Deshaun Watson went, then DeAndre Swift, then Dak Prescott. So we're starting to see the quarterbacks go here. And the tight ends, Tyler Higbee, Stephon Diggs. And now it's us. I think it might be time, guys, to select a tight end here. Although, Kareem Hunt, Raheem Mostert are still there. So we could really top off that running back group with one of those guys. And at the receiver position, still a lot of good receivers there, guys. Tyler Boyd, Jarvis Landry, A.J. Green, Marquise Brown, to name a few. Others on the list, Michael Gallup, Marvin Jones, Will Fuller, Christian Kirk, Brandon Cooks. So just a few of the names at wide receiver. As for our team, so far, it's Dalvin Cook and Miles Sanders and Devin Singletary at running back, and Amari Cooper and DJ Chark at wide receiver. I think, guys, we're going wide receiver or running back here. That's my opinion, but what say you?
I think we could still get a decent tight end even after Ingram goes.
Yeah, these are all the same guys right now.
Yeah.
So
Gronkowski is still there, and he's still.
You're not wrong.
Yeah,
you're not wrong.
So I think either we see who the best available wide receiver running back is and compare the two and choose. I do like Jarvis Landry, but I'm a little scared of the PUP list until I hear other news. AJ Green, I think, is due for a bounce back year. Running backs wise, who's available? You said Kareem Hunt.
Kareem Hunt and Raheem Mostert, and then there's a big drop off. I know who I want here. I just don't know if you guys agree.
What, Kareem Hunt?
I'll reveal that afterwards. But John, if you had to pick somebody in this spot, either running back, wide receiver, who would it be?
I love running backs, and to me, if you don't have enough of them, stockpile enough of them, you're going to be hurting down the road unless you find a few gems. Kareem Hunt, even sharing this backfield with Chubb, is still going to put up the points. If Chubb goes down, he could be the league winner. Love Hunt here.
Thom?
I'd rather go wide receiver. We already have 3 running backs, and we only have 2 wide receivers. So I'd get that 3rd wide receiver, then worry about the running back later on, get that sleeper guy.
See, I feel like wide receiver has more depth than the running back position.
Interesting. I agree with both of those takes, to be honest with you. Jeez. Let's see who else we've got at running back that we might be able to get a little bit. I mean, we could get Ronald Jones. We could get Jordan Howard. Phillip Lindsay I like a lot this year. And at the wide receiver position, let's see who's further down the line there. You guys know I love me some Will Fuller, man. And then Jamison Crowder, Christian Kirk. So you guys both have really good points. It just comes down to what player do I like the most. And by God, we all know that's Kareem Hunt. So we're taking Kareem Hunt here. I get what you're saying, Thom, but we're stacked at running back. And frankly, after I hit this button, which I'm trying to. The gods didn't want me to draft it. It's Kareem Hunt, and now I don't think we have to draft another running back. Am I right, guys?
No, you're right. We can add a solid upside pick in the later rounds.
Well, I agree.
All right. Well, now that we're all in agreement, kinda, it's 3-3. By the way, Kareem Hunt puts you back in the hunt there, so to speak.
No pun
John.
intended.
And after he got drafted by us, Michael Gallup, then Tariq Cohen, then Kyler Murray, Hunter Henry, Marquise Hollywood Brown, A.J. Green, Brandon Cooks, Raheem Mostert, James White, Cam Akers, Ronald Jones, Russell Wilson, and then right there, like a beacon of hope, Jarvis Landry is still sitting there. Will Fuller is still sitting there. Tyler Boyd is still sitting there. To me, I look at those guys as by far the top 3 wide receivers left on the board. We going wide receiver here, guys? I feel like we probably have to.
I think we should, and I think I like Jarvis Landry.
Oh, I agree. Even if he's hurt early, we don't need him for a while anyway, so.
I totally agree. We're not even putting thought into this. I love Will Fuller, but Jarvis Landry is just money, dude. When it comes to fantasy football and PPR
He's
leagues,
always ranked so low, and he always exceeds expectations.
he's just money. Yeah. All right, and after we took him, a few players went off the board here. Try to let this catch up. And I scroll up a little bit. Sorry, it's a little clunky, guys. But after Jarvis Landry, Josh Allen went. Oh, Matt Ryan. We might want to take a quarterback soon. And then after Ryan, Darius Geis, Tyler Boyd, Marlon Mack, Christian Kirk, Keyshawn Vaughn, Matt Breida, Latavius Murray, Sony Michel. Aren't you glad we scarfed up all those running backs? Oh, geez, man. Would you just look at who's at the top of our wide receiver board here?
Nice high upside pick is what you're saying?
But Evan Ingram's still on the board, guys, at the tight end position. And Carson Wentz. But Drew Brees is miraculously still there.
Matt Stafford, Tom Brady.
Brady. So I don't think we take a quarterback here. I think it's tight end. But there is a wide receiver I like on the board. But I'll let you guys kind of tee up who's on your mind right now. What do you think, fellas?
I like Evan Ingram if he can stay healthy, but we don't draft based on healthy. I think sooner or later this kid's got it figured out, and I think this is going to be the year he's got it figured out. I like Evan Ingram in this spot.
Tom?
I'm a Giants fan. Ingram's a stud, but he just can't stay on the field. If you get him now, just get a good backup.
Yeah, I think we can take Evan Ingram here. I mean, he's probably... you guys know I like Mike Gesicki as well. Somebody that might be there a little bit later on. 61% of... experts agree, coincidentally. So I agree with you. It's time to get a tight end. If we wait any longer, it's going to be Gesicki as our starter probably, which isn't the worst thing in the world. I think he's going to be great, but you just never know. I do love Will Fuller. I probably, if it was my team, I would draft him here and just roll the dice on tight end. But this is a position that we need to fill right now, so we're going to take Evan Ingram in the 8th round. So it's still 3-3. You guys agreed on 2 of them. All right, and after Evan Ingram, there's a lot of chatter in the background here. After Evan Ingram, folks, bear with me here. We selected him at the 806, and then after that, 807 is Jordan Howard, then Aaron Rodgers at the 808. Darrell Henderson in L.A., he went at the 809. Then 810 was J.K. Dobbins, and then my boy Will Fuller at the 811. 812, Tevin Coleman. Aren't you glad we don't have to draft running backs like this? 901, first pick of the 9th round is Deontay Johnson, then Marvin Jones. Carson Wentz.
Oh, that stinks. He would have been a bargain.
Deebo Samuel at the 904, 905, Lindsey at 906, Madison. I was really, really hoping that Carson Wentz would land to us. But, fellas, Drew Brees is still there. Is this where we take a quarterback? We've got our tight end. We've got 3 good receivers. We've got 3 good running backs. Is the next logical move to go quarterback here? And if so, who is it? Is it Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Matthew Stafford, or the incomparable Dr. Jones? What do you think, guys?
Drew Brees is the safe pick, I think, here. High-powered offense, still going to do well. But I do like Brady this year. But does he stay a game manager? Or
Tom?
do they do it different?
Well, I agree. Breeze, you know what you're going to get our Breeze. Brady going down to Tampa, you don't know how the offense is going to react with him out there. Because There was a fun gun slinging last year. Now it's going to be more precise passes, this, that, and whatever. So
are you Brady?
I'm more Breeze than Brady.
And you're Breeze, and I'm Breeze too. Highest powered offense on the board here at the quarterback position. And not only that, guys, and understood Tom Brady's in the same division, but this is a shootout division here. These teams are going to be firing on all cylinders. And even when Carolina rolls into town, it still seems to be high-scoring affairs in a lot of these games. I think that will not change this year. Drew Brees is tailor-made for that offense. We know exactly what to expect here. And I couldn't be happier to get Drew Brees in the 9th round, guys, who could give us the same upside as a Deshaun Watson, who went several rounds earlier. So it's a no-brainer here to take Drew Brees. Still 3-3, by the way. So after Mr. Brees went, the ageless one, John Brown went at the 908, and then Jamison Crowder, CeeDee Lamb, Tom Brady, Mike Williams, N'Keal Harry, Michael Pittman, Duke Johnson, Boston Scott, Tony Pollard, and then it's us. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, I got a funny feeling that Rob Gronkowski is still on the board here. And unfortunately, we're having technical difficulties. Let's hope that clears up. It is not right now. Let's see. Okay. Rob Gronkowski's still on the board, guys. And if you want a high upside backup to go with Hayden Hurst, the only problem is you could have two very injury-prone tight ends. But with that being said, he's still kind of far down the list is Rob Gronkowski. So I think we could probably go a different position here and maybe get Gronk in the next round. Right now for wide receivers, we are looking at, hold on here. Again, we're having some technical difficulties.
Ooh.
Sterling Shepard, Anthony Miller, Darius Slayton, Golden Tate, Jerry Jeudy, Preston Williams, Henry Ruggs is down there. None of these guys really wow me. I like Darius Slayton. I like Anthony Miller. I like Henry Ruggs, but none of those guys blow me away. I'm even less blown away at the running back position as Moss, Naheem Hines, Chase Edmonds, Antonio Gibson. And again, we have 4 really good running backs. We could get a quarterback. Is this where, Tom, you get your boy Dr. Jones and we roll with him as a backup? I personally think we could get another solid tight end here or wide receiver. I don't think we really need running back, Tom.
Well, I'd go after the backup quarterback now. Get either Jones or Stafford. Don't have to worry about it the rest of the draft. You can get all the skill position players after that.
Good point, Tom. John. Sorry.
Yeah, I like that. Well, I like. I mean, I know I'm a big Stafford advocator, but Jones with his upside.
I think the word is advocate.
Advocate, sorry.
David Kuchar, are you paying attention?
Daniel Jones, we've been talking about him over and over and over. I would like to go Jones at this point. What is this, the 10th round, 11th round?
I mean, I can't tell you guys. It's the 10th round. We should wait till the 11th, though, because that's when those guys always hit as those 11th round guys. Not a position in need by any means, but Drew Brees is old. And Drew Brees, old guys, they get hit hard, and sometimes they don't get up. Daniel Jones is the opposite of Drew Brees. He's that high upside, dilly gaff type of guy that's going to throw maybe when he shouldn't, but he's got legs too, and he can run. And he's had some really, really big games at the quarterback position as a rookie with a bad offensive line. So I'm okay with Daniel Jones. A little early for him. We did get a reach alert on that one. There was an 89% chance that he would still be there 2 rounds from now. But if you want a guy, sometimes you have to reach for him, right, guys?
Correct.
Oh, I agree.
And I've done it before. I don't want anybody else to get somebody. If I'm that into a player, I'm not afraid to reach a couple rounds for him. So after we selected Dr. Jones, as we like to call him around here, some idiot took Zach Moss. And then after Moss, Sterling Shepard, Henry Ruggs, Justin Jackson, Darius Slayton, Chase Edmonds, Emmanuel Sanders, Mecole Hardman, Anthony Miller, Golden Tate, that's a steal, Naheem Hines, and just missed out on Preston Williams, guys. In the tight end position, we're still looking at...
I think we can still wait.
Jared Cook. Oh, hold on here. Man. Wow, Mike Gesicki is up above Rob Gronkowski right now. Man, why the hate for Rob Gronkowski? I almost want to take him just to punish people. But I think you're right, John. I think we can still wait. Antonio Gibson is really intriguing to me at the running back position. but we might be able to get him a little bit later on. At the wide receiver position, there's a lot of question marks, a lot of rookies, Jerry Jeudy, Jalen Reagor, Justin Jefferson, and then, Alan Lazard's there, but we could wait and get him. A lot of the guys here, gentlemen, at the top of the board are not exciting names to me, and this is an area where, you might have to reach to get what you want. And I got to be honest with you guys, what I want is Rob Gronkowski. That's what I want. I want that backup tight end. I want a guy with high upside, and Rob Gronkowski provides that. And we just got done talking about that division being a high-scoring affair in almost every game that those particular teams face each other. I'm going to tell you I want Rob Gronkowski here, but you guys can tell me what you're thinking. Just a lot of question marks around this area.
A lot of what's sitting there is rookies, and you don't know
right
what their their ceilings are going to be. Looking at it, it's like I see a couple I like, but like you said, you're taking a big chance, like on A.J. Dillon possibly, or a Reagor I love, but I wouldn't. It's hard to take him over somebody like Gronkowski, who's proven him his past.
Jefferson's the most intriguing to me at the wide receiver position, but I just really want Gronkowski.
I'm okay with
so why don't
Gronk
you
here.
guys just give me what I want?
Take him then.
Give me what I want. I'm like Batista. Give me what I want. All right, we're taking Gronk. And I think that's, dude, I really tell you guys, all kidding aside, that is a steal in the 11th round to get Rob Gronkowski, who, like him or not, has tight end 1 overall upside. And that is probably not the most likely scenario, but it's a scenario. There's a narrative out there that could be the case. And he's still playing with Brady, so what better than that? So anyway, after we took Mr. Gronkowski, former 24/7 champion, Rob Gronkowski was Justin Jefferson, Jerry Jeudy, Antonio Gibson, Deshaun Jackson, Curtis Samuel, Austin Hooper, Hayden Hurst, Adrian Peterson, DeAndre Washington, Matt Stafford, and then, of course, us. So DeAndre Washington got me to thinking, guys, do we look at a handcuff situation at any point during this draft? I'm pretty certain Boston Scott is still available.
He's gone. He drafted a few
Boston
rounds ago.
Scott's gone, huh? We know Madison's gone, so but I don't remember Boston Scott going. That's crazy. So I guess that's off the table for us. Our handcuff situation is up the creek, unfortunately. We do have some interesting players available here, but I would say, guys, we're probably going either wide receiver or running back for the remainder of the draft.
Oh yeah, we have the quarterback, backup tight end.
Which a lot of experts don't do that, guys. They don't draft backup quarterbacks or backup tight ends. I would say if you have Kelsey, you don't need to backup tight end, or if you have Kittle or one of those guys, if you have Mahomes, Jackson, Prescott, you probably don't need a backup quarterback. But it's always good to hedge your bets if you don't have one of those top tier guys. That's my take on that. I think you guys probably agree.
I always carry backups just in case.
I do
Mahomes
too.
got hurt last year, and you had
Yep.
to scramble off the waiver wire to pick up somebody. So.
Absolutely. John, you in agreement?
No,
on
I've
that?
always had the backup just in case. I mean, you don't want to scramble that who you're picking, like a Finley or somebody or a Brandon Allen off the waiver wire if all you have is Mahomes. So I agree always with at least one backup.
All right, so there's some players left here that are pretty intriguing. A.J. Dillon, Anthony McFarlane, kind of intriguing. Darrington Evans would be a league winner if Derrick Henry were to go down. Damian Harris might even start the season as the starting running back in New England, guys. At the wide receiver position, there's Jalen Reagor, Robbie Anderson, Brashad Perriman, Sammy Watkins, Alan Lazard. Brandon Ayuk is available. So what are you guys thinking here? Oh, Mike Gesicki. We could always grab Mike Gesicki and have 3 tight ends.
Do we have 4 wide receivers right now? 4 running backs, 4 wide receivers, correct?
Let me double check here. We have. I'll just give a quick rundown of the team thus far. Quarterback Drew Brees, running backs Dalvin Cook, Miles Sanders, Devin Singletary, Kareem Hunt. Tight ends Evan Ingram and Rob Gronkowski. Boy, that's a hospital visit waiting to happen. Those 2 tight ends, and then wide receiver position Jarvis Landry, DJ Chark, Amari Cooper, So we definitely need some receivers here, guys. And, of course, our quarterback. I don't know if I mentioned the other quarterback, Daniel Jones. So we have Landry, Chark, and Cooper. We need some wide receivers.
This is my...
We're all agreeing there.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think we need a receiver. I really like Jalen Reagor. Alshon Jeffrey's not the same receiver he used to be. Philadelphia cannot go through what it did last year, and I think Reagor is going to start right off the bat here, and I think he's going to be involved very quickly. I know Ertz is there, but I think Reagor is definitely going to benefit here.
If it's like last year with Arcega-Whiteside, who knows? Wentz likes the tight ends and Sanders is on the field. I like Lazard, but I've been hiding him out.
I like Lazard too, guys. This point is, man, this is you both have good points because Reagor, John, could be the top receiver on the team here, but let's not forget Deshaun Jackson. Even though
36.
He is an anti-Semite, as Uncle Leo would say, he's still not going to get suspended because apparently it's okay to be an anti-Semite in 2020. Rest in peace, Uncle Leo. But with that being said, I mean, Jalen Reagor could be the number one receiver here. Other things I've heard, too, like Thom said, I've heard Peterson say, look, I mean, we made a mistake rushing our Arcega-Whiteside out there, and we're not likely to do that with Reagor this year. I don't think there's any rush to put him out there. And I like Lazard. I mean, Lazard, I think, to me, is the clear-cut number 2 wide receiver on that team, which is a pretty solid position to be in. Unlike you, Thom, I don't see the tight end being a position that's getting used there. Never has, and I don't think it ever will. So I'm not too concerned about Jay Sternberger. Although Reagor is ranked, 10 spots higher, I'm happy to take Lazard here. So in case you're counting, it's 4-1 in favor of Thom here.
4-3.
Oh, 4-3.
Yeah, I was going to say, how did I lose
Oh, yeah,
points?
4-3. I'm just trying to widen the gap here. I'm trying to widen the plate for Thom. 4-3. Thom is up by 1. Let's just put it that way. So after Lazard, Big Ben Roethlisberger, Jalen Reagor, Jared Cook, Damian Harris, Mike Gesicki, my man, A.J. Dillon, Sammy Watkins, Jamal Williams, Robbie Anderson, Rashad Penny. That was the guy I was thinking we could get late. And then Anthony McFarland, and then Devonta Freeman. And it is our pick. Just to throw it out there, the running back position is pretty well dried up at this point. But Joshua Kelly is a little bit further down the list. And again, guys, you look at a guy like Darrington Evans. If Derrick Henry gets hurt, which given his usage is a definite possibility, Darrington Evans is a league winner here. There's no other guy that is the clear-cut number 2. So I'm really intrigued by Darrington Evans. At the same time, we probably do need to bolster our wide receiver ranks. A few interesting guys here, but nobody that really jumps off the page at me. Paris Campbell intrigues me. Denzel Mims intrigues me, but there's really nobody that jumps out at me. Laviska Shenault, but we could easily get him a little bit further down the line. Are we still gonna put our finger into the wind, lick our finger, put it in the wind for Corey Davis? Probably not. Mr. Old Reliable Larry Fitzgerald is there. But again, none of these guys really blow me away, and none of these guys are guys that I look at and say, I can win my league with them. I see that in some way with Darrington Evans. Do you guys agree, disagree?
I say backup tight end. We have 2 guys might get 16 games combined. If Noah Fant's on the board, I like that.
Oh, yeah, you're a boy. I should have known. Here we go. Well, my boy Jonnu Smith is there, too. He's not wrong, though, John. Our score is probably going to hurt once we draft a third tight end, but nobody cares about these scores anyway.
The scores never. I mean, look at where some of these people went in this mock anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not against it. He's absolutely right. We have 2 tight ends that have never played a full 16-game slate, really.
Yeah.
So it's insurance to 2 injury-prone tight ends.
Let's take Noah Fant, but that's not going to help your score, just so you know. You're still down 4-3 or 4-1, depending on, who you ask. All right, so we took the one and only, the incomparable Noah Fant, who could frankly be a top 10 tight end easily this year. I think we're good at tight end, guys. I don't think we need to go down that road any further. And then, of course, Darrington Evans went right after that. And then after that is Brashad Perriman, Jared Goff, LaShawn McCoy. That's an interesting pick right there. What better pick to have this late in the draft? And then Carlos Hyde, Dallas Goedert, Joshua Kelly. Darn it. Brandon Ayuk, Chris Thompson, TJ Hawkinson. And now it's just going to get ugly, guys. There's not much left of value on the board. Again, at this point in the draft, guys, I look at people with high upside that could potentially be a league winner for me. There really isn't any of that at the running back position at this point. If I were a Joe Mixon owner, I'd definitely take Gio Bernard. If I were a Leonard Fournette owner, I'd take Raquel Armstead, and so on and so on, looking at the handcuffs. But we don't have any of those guys. I'm not loving the running back position, and frankly, we're sitting pretty there.
Damian Harris gone?
Damian Harris is long gone. Paris Campbell's there at the wide receiver position. Like I said before, Larry Fitzgerald, Denzel Mims, Laviska Shenault. What are you guys thinking right here?
Campbell's one of the top options for Rivers in Indianapolis. So,
and he loves the slot receiver.
He loves the slot. And I love Paris Campbell, so we're going to draft Paris Campbell because he was one of my favorite rookies last year. Didn't quite pan out in year one. Really didn't get a lot of opportunity in year one, but definitely a guy that is kind of tailor-made to what Phillip Rivers does and what he looks for in a receiver. Very kind of cut from the same cloth as Keenan Allen. Not Keenan Allen necessarily, but cut from the same cloth. So after Paris Campbell, Alshon Jeffrey, the mighty have fallen there. Corey Davis, Chris Herndon, Raquel Armstead, Malcolm Brown, Jerick McKinnon, Jonnu Smith, Jack Doyle, Frank Gore, Ryan Tannehill, Gio Bernard, and Royce staying in the garage. Freeman.
Frank Gore's still getting drafted after 20 years.
I know it. Jeez. So for me, guys, I mean, not much left. I mean, we're at the end of the draft. A name that kind of stands out to me is there's a couple here. One of them, John mentioned him before. Is if Dare Ngumbawale is the the pass catching running back for Tom Brady, there could be a lot of value there. And the other guy is Laviska Shenault. So those are two guys that I look at, kind of stand out to me. Tom, do you see anybody else other than that?
No, this is slim pickings right now. Unless you
yeah.
reach way down the list. I'm sure there's somebody down there you forget about that's like 220, 230 on the list.
There might be. John, what about you?
At this point, it goes with, it's like you said, high upside, but at the same time, it's a gut call. I mean, at this point, it's like comparing apples and oranges. You're going to find something you like with one the other. You take a gamble here, and if it pays off, it could be a huge difference in your team.
Yeah, and to your point, Tom, even then, there's not much down there. Oh, Lamar Miller. Yeah, I told you guys my two thoughts here. Ngumbawale or Laviska Shenault. You guys partial to either of those guys?
As much as I like Shenault, I like Dare more based on the fact that look what James White did in New England with Tom Brady. If Dare ends up becoming the third down back there or the pass catching back, he was going to fly up rings the year after.
Tom, what do we got here?
I go with Shenault just because he might be on the field quicker than the other guy is. Just because there's three other running backs on that team, too. He's fighting with to get snaps. Shenault and DJ Chark are the two wide receivers in Jacksonville.
Two things here. I can't let John go home with another loss, number one. Number two, we're going to take Dare, and I think we can still get Shenault in the next round. So we're going to... Oh, no, it's the last round. Sorry. So it's we got an A+, so that's wonderful. Right, guys? A wonderful draft on our part. Thanks to Fantasy Pros. Not a sponsor. But let's go through our final roster here, if I can ever get myself to that. Let's see. All right, well, where are we here? I don't even know your team. That's our team. So, first round, Dalvin Cook. Second round, Miles Sanders. Third round, Amari Cooper. Fourth round, DJ Chark. Fifth round, Devin Singletary. Kareem Hunt after that in the sixth. Jarvis Landry in the seventh. Evan Ingram in the eighth. Drew Brees in the ninth. Daniel Jones in the 10th. Rob Gronkowski in the 11th. Alan Lazard in the 12th. Noah Fant in the 13th. Paris Campbell in the 14th. and Dare Ogunbowale in the 15th. And by the way, in case you were keeping score, that is a tie between John and Thom. So from a roster standpoint, Drew Brees is our starting quarterback. Dalvin Cook and Miles Sanders are starting running backs. Boy, does that look sweet. Amari Cooper and DJ Chark as our wide receivers. I love that. Evan Ingram as our tight end. Made a concession there. It could work out great for us. Could be Rob Gronkowski as our tight end, but right now it's Evan Ingram. Devin Singletary in our flex. And then, of course, our bench is Kareem Hunt, Jarvis Landry, Daniel Jones, Rob Gronkowski, Alan Lazard, Noah Fant, Paris Campbell, and Adare. The boogeyman, Ogunbowale. I'm perfectly fine with that team. You guys like that team?
I do like that team, actually. I like the Sanders pick. I think solidified, like you said, those nice PPR backs.
Yep. We took a little hit at wide receiver, but I'm happy with the running backs we have, and probably Gronkowski is going to be our starting tight end. But it is a mock.
Depending how Kareem or Evan Ingram play, they could always be in the flex position over Singletary possibly as well.
Could be. Definitely. Jarvis Landry's on our team, our third wide receiver.
Third wide receiver, flex position. We got plenty of options for the flex. So
I'm just so baffled how Landry always goes late every year.
Every year.
Every year.
And he makes people look dumb every year.
He does.
That's our team for Mock Draft version 4. We have one more mock draft before the season starts. And, dude, we're already into our updated rankings shows coming up here. This is incredible, man. I mean, we are charging toward the fantasy football season. I couldn't be any more excited. The draft is coming. I'm looking at it on my schedule at work, making sure I have the time off, the 4 days off that I require for the one draft day. Can't wait, man.
It's Christmas to us. It's sad because I asked for those same 4 days off. But
oh, yeah.
You guys also have to remember we do set up for this. We take this very seriously.
Yeah.
So, we even have other plans in place for, rain day and all that. So, but there is no rain day.
So, next show is going to be updated quarterback and tight end rankings. These next few shows could be kind of girthy, guys. I'm just going to let you know. And then it's updated running back rankings, updated wide receiver rankings. Wide receiver rankings will be the show after that. And then, of course, on 8, actually, it's a little bit further down the line, we're going to have the draft day episode on the 26th. 26th or 25th? I think it's the 25th, John. Draft day is on the 23rd, so we'll record the show then. And then we will post it, I believe, that'll be Tuesday, so it'll be the 25th. That's the biggest day of the year. That's Christmas Day. So Merry Christmas is coming up very soon. Until then, we'll see you guys next time on quarterback tight end rankings. Do you guys have any final words for the listeners today?
All I'm going to say is just keep listening to us. We'll get you to a championship.
What else should they do, John?
Like, listen, share.
Like, subscribe, listen, share. Leave a flippin' review.
Leave an email. Ask questions.
Yeah.
This is what we're here for, guys. We're here to help you guys, succeed. Our actually biggest goal is for you to win it all. But if we can get you there in the process, and if you don't win your championship, at least you got there. Yeah. Well, we're going to help you win it.
I mean, I'm going to say this because we don't have sponsors right now. This shit ain't free, guys. So help us out. Keep this train rolling. We're having a blast. We will help you win championships. And probably at the expense of us winning championships in certain ways. We're giving out all the old trade secrets here. But yeah, support the show so we can keep going. It costs us money to put this out there, guys. So don't be cheap. Open up your wallet, or at least open up your handheld device and leave a review. Like, subscribe, share, the whole 9 yards. And also a listener league, so reach out to us at armchairfb@gmail.com or Twitter. I'm on Twitter at Armchair Kingpin. John is on Twitter at John2977. Thom is not, but he's on Instagram.
Thom, I think you need.
He doesn't remember his Instagram.
I think you need to get
handle,
on Twitter.
ID.
I think you need to get on Twitter.
I think he does.
We'll call you Fantasy Yoda.
At Fantasy Yoda. I got a feeling that's probably taken, though.
I'm sure it is.
At Hot Take Thom. Well, there's a million options out there.
We have a ton.
Yeah. All right, we'll see you guys next time.
See you guys.
Out. See ya.
Thank you for listening to the Armchair Fantasy Football Podcast. Thanks for supporting the show. Until next time.